You haven't gone to lunch yet.
Oh, could I?
Well, you were supposed to leave a half hour ago.
Yes, I know, but the funniest thing happened.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
My replacement didn't show up. Seems she decided to take a 2.5-hour lunch.
Did not take 2.5 hours. Besides, I had a bit of a shock and I couldn't come right back to work.
What happened? Lose an earring?
Go ahead and make fun. But I saw something that really threw me for a loop. Only I'm not the kind of person who's going to gossip about other people's business.
Really? Since when?
Well, I guess I could kind of maybe tell you a little. I mean, I owe you one for being a little bit late. But you have to swear that you're not going to tell anybody. I was in the park with Bill Garrett, and you'll never guess who we saw there together. Monica Cornermain and Sean Donnelly. And this was no doctor-patient consultation. Which is probably why Alan's going to end up divorcing Monica.
Afternoon, lady.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Amy. Seeing you twice in one day, people are going to begin to talk.
Oh, I doubt that. You're here to see somebody special?
No, actually, I brought Robin in to share some pretty special artwork with the children up in the pediatrics ward.
Oh, that's nice. You're becoming the unofficial mascot up there, aren't you?
I know what it's like to be sick in bed.
Oh.
And anyway, Mommy doesn't have any more room on the refrigerator for these.
Oh, now I get the picture.
You can have one if you want, but they're really for the kids.
Well, no, honey, that's okay. Is Buzz Stryker in the hospital?
Oh, I think so, unless he took the medical van out.
Could you page him for me?
Sure.
I was supposed to talk to him this morning, but something came up.
I'll bet. I'll page Monica for Buzz, Dr. Stryker for you right now.
See what I say.
I cannot believe that you lost everything.
Believe it, it's nothing we would joke about.
You literally cashed in all the stocks.
Oh, boy, when I get my hands on that Dimitri Cassadine.
Edward, how could you be so foolish?
Monica, I am in no mood for lectures.
Oh, darling, please don't get excited. You'll end up in the hospital.
Yeah, I couldn't afford the room rates.
Look, there has to be some remaining money here.
Don't count on it.
You want to know what's left? There it is. Barely enough for bus fare home.
Oh, we can ride for free, dear. We're over 65.
That's right. Look on the bright side, Lila. We can spend our golden years bumming free rides on the public transit system.
And there's all kinds of benefits we can take advantage of. Free bingo on Thursday night, discount lunches at the senior recreation
Lila, why
center.
don't you just shoot me? It would take less time.
I am in total shock here. I mean it. But I'm going to tell you something. You have no one to blame but yourself. Sean and I both warned you what could happen.
I had no reason to believe what you were saying.
Well, that, my dear, is precisely why I'm divorcing you.
This is no time to talk about divorce. We have much more important matters to discuss.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'd better go and call Stella and tell her we'll be home for dinner.
Well, please, Lila. Now, nothing fancy. Maybe some macaroni and cheese or a free pizza.
Oh.
What are we going to do?
Well, I'll tell you one thing we're not going to do. We're not going to take this sitting down.
Well, Edward, that goes without saying. You're not going to have any furniture to sit on. How could you have done this to Lila?
I am going to get every last cent out of that Dimitri Cassadine.
How are you going to do that?
Well, I don't know. Every dog has his day. And mine is going to come when I drag that hound into court.
But Ramsey told me what happened. What's going on?
Our girl Lucy has had a change of heart.
Why is she so upset?
Jake has broken her down. She admits to being in love with Kevin from afar.
Come on, I don't believe that.
Oh, that's not all. She also remembers now that Kevin was in the library on the morning of March 17th.
So our case is completely destroyed.
It's not looking very good.
Briscoe, Jake's done it. I never thought it would happen so fast, but he's broken Lucy code.
Does that make you happy?
If it helps prove Kevin's innocent, you bet.
I don't believe it.
Well, it looks like we're going to get Kevin back home before long.
Boy, I tell you, nothing make me happier than put this whole sordid mess behind us once and for all.
Yeah, Jake did one hell of a good job.
I gotta admit
Better
that.
than any Park Avenue attorney you would have brought in, Dad.
Not really.
Order. Order in the courtroom. There is still a witness on the stand. Take your seats and come to order. I would like to remind the jury that the trial of Kevin O'Connor is not over. The charge of murder still stands against the accused, Mr. Kevin O'Connor. Order, please. Order. I would like the district attorney and the defense attorney to approach the bench.
Your Honor, I am outraged at what's taken place here this afternoon. It's been a total miscarriage of justice.
What are you talking about?
What you did to that witness was unforgivable.
I must say, Mr. Meyer, your sense of the dramatic was put to great use in that last line of questioning.
Quite frankly, I did not enjoy doing it. It was necessary, and it did work.
So does electric shock therapy, but we don't allow that in the courtroom either.
Gentlemen, keep your voices down or we will have to move this conversation to my chambers.
Sorry, Your Honor, I'm sorry. My mind is still reeling from the witness manipulation. I've been forced to sit...
Get off it, Fred. Everything I did in this courtroom was perfectly legal and moral. Your witness committed perjury.
I'm afraid he's right, Mr. Madison. But off the record, Mr. Meyer, you were walking a very thin line.
That stuff with the lilac paper was a low blow. I'd love to know where you got that girl's poetry collection.
I'll bet you would.
But you're not going to tell me.
No, I'm not.
All right, let's just forget how you did it. The obvious conclusion is that one way or another, Lucy Coe has perjured herself in this courtroom.
I'll keep that in mind, Counselor.
I am, of course, going to want to re-examine the witness.
Your Honor, I don't think she can take much more questioning. Look at her. She's an emotional wreck. I'm not sure how much she can take.
Thanks to you.
I'll call a short recess to give Miss Coe time to collect herself.
That was my favorite goddaughter.
Great. Today's like a holiday.
Oh? How's that?
I had a fun day at school, and Sean came to talk to my teachers, and he gave me a ride to the hospital to see the children in pediatrics, and now I get to see you.
Sounds like a perfect day. Probably couldn't get much better.
I didn't finish.
Oh.
Mommy's taking me shopping tonight to get some new summer clothes.
Isn't it a little early for that? Summer's still a long way away.
Women always shop a season ahead. It's the only way they could find anything in the stores.
Why, of course, they should know that, Buzz.
I know it now.
Oh,
That's
right.
fine. Have you seen your friends in pediatrics yet?
Not yet.
Well, why don't we get Amy to take you up there right now? You want
Okay.
it? All right.
Hey, sweetie.
Thank you.
Get your paintings.
Amy, why don't you take a break and escort Robin here up to the 4th floor? She has apparently some artwork to show our friends in pediatrics.
I would be more than happy to do that.
Thanks,
Follow
Take your coat.
me.
Thank
Okay.
you. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Sean. Bye, Mother.
Sean, I'm glad you could stop by. I need the advice of another godfather, and Frisco's been very busy.
It's not about Robin, is it?
No. Matter of fact, it's about her mother. Anna's having difficulty balancing her job as police chief with the rest of her life.
Well, she has a pretty tough position. I know because I was in law enforcement myself. It's difficult keeping your personal life in the front burner.
You know, that's just it. Anna doesn't seem to have any personal life. She finds time for Robin, sure, but that's not enough.
Oh. Are you trying to tell me that Anna may need a man in her life?
Maybe I am.
Do you have anyone special in mind?
I don't know.
Are you romantically interested in Anna, Bud?
She's a damned attractive woman.
You don't have any eligible bachelors that might be interested?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. Someone very close to me.
Really? You know, buddy, I envy you. Because if I wasn't involved right now, I'd give you a little competition.
We lost our capital. Monica is throwing us out on the street, all for a deal I didn't want to be part of in the first place.
Oh, come on, don't give me that, Alan. You couldn't sell your stocks off fast enough. I could see dollar signs written all over your face.
How can you say that? I never trusted Dimitri Cassadine right from the beginning.
Well, at least we agree on something.
I have come to a decision.
Well, if it has anything to do with money, I don't want to hear it.
It won't cost anything, and it may bring us in some money.
Well, now you're talking.
I've decided to sell my jewelry.
I won't allow you to do that, Mother.
Hey, not so fast. Have you ever seen those rocks she has stashed away in the vault? I mean, this could be our version of Live Aid.
Look, Edward, how can you compare yourself to anybody who is really poor?
Oh, we're poor, believe me. And I, for one, don't intend to spend the rest of my life eating tuna fish and potato chip casseroles. Now, keep your wedding ring and sell everything else, Lila.
Lila, you really insist about this. I will buy your jewelry.
Call the broker. There's got to be a mistake.
I really doubt it, Ellen. I'm sure that Dimitri is more than delighted to have a fortune just dropped right in his lap.
Hello, this is Alan Quartermain. Listen, I want you to check on the information about Dimitri Cassadine. Listen, if you lost the amount of money that we are just losing on this, you'd expect verification of the information as well.
You tell that overpaid bank clerk to find my money.
Okay, fine. I'll talk to you later. He's going to call us later if he has some information.
Well, I have to get to the hospital. I'm sure, Edward, you could appreciate someone with a salaried position. Do I have any messages?
Hi. How do you like the latest piece in my new art collection?
It must have cost a fortune.
Didn't cost me a cent.
Well, it's very nice.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Trouble with a patient?
Worse, actually. Family.
Hey, is everybody okay?
Well, physically, yes, they're fine. The Quartermains, however, have suffered a rather severe financial loss.
I'm sorry to hear that. Perhaps I should also be surprised at how concerned you seem. I thought you were divorcing Alan.
I am, Buzz, but because I'm ending a marriage doesn't mean that I sever all my ties with the family. I love Lila. I don't want to see her hurt.
Of course not.
I mean, I'm not a Quartermain by blood, but they've really been the only family I've ever known.
What about your own family?
I never knew them. I grew up in an orphanage. And the Quartermains were around when I really needed a family, and I just always felt like I was just a part of them.
No one would ever suggest you're not a true Quartermain.
Well, I don't know how true that is anymore.
Are you having second thoughts about leaving Alan?
No, I'm not, Buzz. I just hate to see it end like this with all the problems they're having.
Now, if the problems are really that bad, is there anything you can do about it?
I don't know. I have one idea, anyway.
What's that?
I'm going to call a friend of mine and see if he has any ideas to help him out.
I never would have believed it, but Buzz is right. Working with terminal patients really does make me feel good about myself. Kind of puts things in perspective. Did you enjoy it?
Enjoy what? Huh?
Claudia, what is bugging you?
Brian didn't come home last night.
Oh, sorry. Is he all right?
Oh, I hope so. I don't know. I called his office. They haven't heard from him yet. I just don't know what to think.
Did you two have a fight or something?
Well, it wasn't much of a fight. Actually, we talked about everything yesterday. Brian doesn't love me any longer. He thinks he's falling in love with Debbie.
Brian is confused, and you two have been having a rough go of it lately. Probably realized that he was wrong, decided to take some time off and tie one on with the guys.
No, Brian can't. He can't do that. He's an alcoholic.
Oh, Claudia.
Oh, honey, if he did that, it would just kill me. He can't do that. No.
Well, don't go asking for trouble. You don't know if that's what happened.
But it could have happened. I can't think of any other reason why he wouldn't come home. Unless he is with Debbie.
Let's just go back to the spa and see if Brian tried to reach you there, okay?
Hi, Claudia. Hi, Lorena.
Oh, hi, Amy. And I'm
Hi.
glad to see you. Look, if you hear from Brian, will you please have him call me at the spa? It's important.
I sure will.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'm going to have to call the police.
Anyone would think that this case had been dismissed.
It may as well be.
Are we in that bad shape?
Lucy Coe's testimony did sort of put a wet blanket on things, yes.
Don't let her testimony undermine this case. I'm still convinced that Kevin is guilty.
That and 50 cents won't get you a cup of coffee. We need more than gut feelings at this point, Anna.
What are you going to do? Give up? Is that it?
Not yet.
I'm going to re-examine Lucy and hope to get her to admit that she was lying when she said Kevin was in the library on the morning of the 17th.
If Lucy changes her story again, she and her entire testimony is going to be thrown out of court.
Fine. At least it won't be used against us.
But don't you see that the damage has already been done? What do you think the jury's going to believe? An unbalanced young woman? Or a sincere, good-looking medical student,
Frisco, I want to thank you for getting close enough to Lucy Coe to get the truth.
Well, I'm glad I could help you, Kevin, but I have to tell you, I feel very sorry for that girl. She's awful mixed up.
Well, now that that girl has shown her true colors, maybe that judge will, put her in some sort of institution or something and where she can get some proper care.
Something.
I feel sorry for her, too.
You feel sorry for her? Young lady, that pathetic girl could have sent your husband to prison for the rest of his natural life.
Don't forget how much courage it took to tell that story.
Well,
don't forget that Kevin might have gone to jail if it wasn't for the story.
Well, it doesn't make any difference because the truth has been told and Kevin's going to be acquitted.
I agree with you, Patrick. I think the DA's case is completely shot down. I don't see how the jury can do anything but acquit you, Kevin.
And the sooner the better.
All rise.
Everyone return to his seat, please. The sudden change in Miss Coe's testimony has prompted me to allow the district attorney to re-examine the witness, even though the prosecution has rested its case. Miss Coe, may I remind you that you are still under oath. Mr. Madison, you may question the witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Coe, I'm having trouble believing your story about seeing Kevin O'Connor in the library on the morning of the 17th.
I was telling the truth.
Which time?
I saw Mr. O'Connor in the library on March 17th. You gotta believe me.
Do you have any proof?
No.
And there was no one around who could substantiate your story?
No, I was the only one on duty.
No one else was there. The word of a perjured liar carries very little weight in a court of law. You are aware that one way or another you have perjured yourself in this courtroom.
I couldn't help it. I loved Kevin, but he never knew I was alive.
So you did this for revenge?
Yes.
This vendetta you carried against Kevin O'Connor could well put you in prison. Knowing that, are you still prepared to swear that you saw Kevin O'Connor in that library on the morning of the 17th?
Yes. Yes, I am.
No more questions. You may dismiss this witness.
Mr. Meyer, District Attorney Madison, you may prepare your closing arguments. You are excused, Miss Coe.
All rise.
Is that better?
Oh, thank you, darling. I don't think this headache's going to let up until our broker calls us back.
I wonder what's keeping him so long.
He probably went out to lunch. Yeah, why not? While he's enjoying a 3-martini lunch with what remains of my money, I'll be scrounging crackers off the top of coffee shop tables.
Oh, Edward, that's quite enough, dear.
Now, don't panic, darling. Hopefully, this is all just one great big mistake.
Well, I'm sure it is, dear. But I won't have you go around stealing crackers. The salt content of crackers exceeds the limit of your diet.
Yeah, that's fine, darling, but it's not going to be easy to slip a vegetable platter into my pocket.
Well, darling, at least we still have something.
What's that?
Family. We're all reasonably healthy, and we have each other. And with all that going for us, I don't think that being poor is going to be so bad.
Oh, bite your tongue.
Well, at least you'll have more time to spend with me, dear.
Yeah, that's right. You could go on that long vacation you've been putting off.
Sure, your mother and I could tour the various poorhouses across the country.
Listen, I thought you said this was going to be all a mistake.
Well, I'm just trying to prepare myself for the worst. I mean, I don't happen to share your mother's Pollyanna point of view toward life.
Well, perhaps you should give it a shot, dear.
Yeah.
I'll bet it'll do great things for your blood pressure.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right. I don't know. How could we have lost an entire fortune overnight?
It wasn't overnight. It took us weeks to get rid of those assets. Monica was right. We were duped.
Now, just a moment. All the evidence pointed to the fact that Cassadine was a legitimate business force.
That's the broker, I'm sure. Hello? Yes, right. What took you so long? No. All of it? What do you mean?
Well, what's he saying?
Just a minute. It's worse than we thought. Cassadine has left the country with all our money.
Dear Lord.
What do you mean? Gone? Cassadine couldn't have left this country with that much money.
What time is it?
About 10 minutes later than last time you asked me.
Are you sure you don't have any crayons?
Oh, honey, I'm positive. I think Felicia took the last box home with her, and probably for you.
Is it time for Mommy to pick me up yet?
Not quite. What's the matter? Aren't you having fun spending time with me?
Sure. You're one of my favorite godfathers. But you have a lot of work to do, and I don't want to get in the way.
Oh, you could never do that.
Holding company.
That's right.
Is that something to do with your business?
Yeah. Yeah, sort of.
I thought it might be a company that teaches you how to hold a girl.
Where in the world do you come up with your ideas? Holding a girl is something that you will never learn on a piece of paper. Oh, excuse me. Donnelly Shipping Company, Sean Donnelly speaking.
Hi, Mr. Speaking. This is Monica, and we have to talk.
Something wrong?
Yes, my suspicions were confirmed. Ellen and Edward invested everything they have in Dimitri's stock.
I wish they would have listened to us, but who knows? Maybe they'll come out all right.
It's too late. It's too late for that. They found out from the broker that the stock's worthless. Dimitri's left the country with all of their money.
Wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not. Look, I'm going to be here for a couple more hours if you want to stop by.
Okay, fine.
Good.
Was that bad news?
No, not for me, honey, but for someone I know.
Sounds like you knew the bad news was going to happen.
I suspected it. Now I'm trying to keep a very good friend of mine from getting hurt.
That's very nice of you.
Well, thank you, honey.
Hello. Hello. Ooh, what a wonderful welcome. Ooh. Hello.
I was worried you forgot about our shopping trip.
Are you kidding? Those credit cards have been burning a hole in my pockets all day. Thank you very much for keeping an eye on them.
Oh, no problem. Actually, if the truth be known, she was keeping a closer eye on me.
No doubt.
How's the case coming?
I don't know. Jake's a very good lawyer. With Frisco and Felicia's help, he seems to have put a huge dent in the DA's case.
Oh, it's not over yet.
No. No, it's all down to the closing arguments. Once they've been heard, it's all up to the jury.
I would like to remind you, jurors, of the strong case the state is presenting against Kevin O'Connor. First, we have the fact that no one can confirm his presence at a university lecture on the morning the murder occurred. Now, granted, that lecture took place in a darkened hall. But may I remind you that the lights had to be on at the beginning and at the end of that class. Why did no one see Kevin O'Connor? Probably because he was at the airport preparing to kill his wife's grandmother. Now, we know that Red Flynn saw Kevin O'Connor at the airport in the morning in question. Although my esteemed colleague did his best to attack the character and credibility of Mr. Flynn, I ask you to disregard that information. It has absolutely nothing to do with the reliability of his testimony. Now, as for the testimony of Lucy Coe, well, if I had my way, both she and her testimony would be thrown out of this courtroom. She is obviously a very disturbed young woman, and in need of professional help. And I would like to apologize to this jury for allowing her to use this courtroom for a public therapy session. However, the facts are clear to see. Kevin O'Connor is a killer. And I know that when you examine the facts, you will agree by returning a guilty verdict. Justice will be done. I leave it in your hands. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Madison. Mr. Meyer, are you ready to present the closing argument for the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, you've heard the district attorney, Brett Madison, tell you of the strong case against my client. Can a case rely on the testimony of a long parade of liars and cheats? I think not. We are talking about the future of a young doctor here, a promising young doctor. Not the outcome of a fixed basketball game. Red Flynn obviously didn't know the difference. His alleged eyewitness testimony could have been based on his adolescent anger towards a Kevin O'Connor look-alike, because he cost him his coaching career. And what about this outstanding young student, John Hudson? So outstanding, as a matter of fact, such an outstanding student, that he'd rather lie and send my client to prison rather than admit that he missed a class. A class that he says he did not see Kevin O'Connor in. Well, how could he? He was so busy stuffing his face at Kelly's with corned beef hash. And we have Lucy Coe. We've all sat here today and listened with difficulty at her testimony. She is obviously a confused young woman. But I don't think it's fair to discount all of her testimony solely because she lied out of her love for a young man, even if that love was misguided. After all is said and done, Lucy Coe saw Kevin O'Connor at the Reference Medical Library the morning of March 17th, the morning Jennifer Talbot was killed. Kevin O'Connor is innocent. He is an outstanding member of two communities. The witnesses I have produced for you paint the real picture of Kevin O'Connor, a young man, a man with a future, a man who could never hurt another living soul, a man who has dedicated his life to helping people, not hurting them. The only way justice will be served here, ladies and gentlemen, is if you bring back an innocent verdict. Let Kevin O'Connor go back to doing what he does best. Instead of wasting his time in a courtroom defending himself against a bunch of trumped-up charges. Thank you, Your Honor.
You've heard the closing arguments, and I've outlined the points of law. Now it's up to you. I don't have to tell you the important job that's ahead of you. If you find Kevin O'Connor guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you must return a verdict of guilty. If there is any doubt that Mr. O'Connor is responsible for the death of Jennifer Talbot, you must deliver a verdict of innocent. You've heard the testimony. You've heard the evidence. Examine it carefully. At this time, I'll dismiss the jury to deliberate on this important decision. This court is adjourned until the jury has reached a verdict.
All rise.
I feel awful good about it.
I do too. It's over. It's over.
I hope
okay?
so.
It's over.
I hope so.
Jake?
Congratulations. You did a pretty impressive job.
I want to thank you for saving my son.
Haven't done that yet.
Mr. Meyer, you are
It was
a wonderful
just
man.
a brilliant summing up.
Well, let's hope the jury agrees with you, Ted. And let's hold off our congratulations till we get their innocent verdict.
Lucy, where are you going?
Home.
Why don't you let us take you, huh?
No, I couldn't do that.
be alone tonight. Why don't you let us take you out to dinner?
Yeah, she's right. Why don't you come with us, huh?
You two are so nice. Okay. You talked me into it.
Lucy. Sorry I put you through that.
Perjury is a very serious charge, Mr. Meyer. If I need a lawyer, would you represent me?
The jury indicts you. I'll represent you.
Thank you. That's very kind. Considering all the trouble I caused your friend.
We all understand what you're going through, Lucy.
You probably feel like your world is crumbling around you.
Is it over? Are they through?
I just don't believe it. What's happening to this family?
I don't understand it.
Well, I'm not surprised, Stella. You haven't understood anything I've said for the past 20 years.
Mr. Quartermain is feeling a little tense, Stella. Oh, maybe I should fix some coffee.
She said tense, not stupid. I need a drink.
Stella, this family has suffered a rather severe financial setback.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
We're going to have to tighten the purse strings, Stella. Goodbye, filet mignon. Hello, hamburger.
Well, maybe I better call the butcher and cancel our standing order.
That's the spirit.
You know, maybe I could work a double shift, see that many more patients, increase my billing by 40%.
Oh, come on, Alan. You couldn't bring in enough money to keep this family going if you opened an office in a 24-hour convenience store.
You'd be surprised what little money some people are able to live on, Edward.
Yeah, well, I, for one, do not intend to find out. Hello, Mr. Mallory? Edward Quartermain. Tell me, do you still manage that account that I opened a few years ago? Oh, really? Yeah, well, I know it must have seemed rather eccentric for me to stash away a couple of $100,000 for a rainy day, but the rainy day has come. Yeah, I want to cash out that account just as soon as possible. Okay, I'll be in touch. Thank you, Mr. Mallory.
You know, Father, we really ought to sit down and work out a family budget.
Yeah, I guess you're right, at least until I can fatten up the family coffers once again.
Well, I don't know how you're going to do that. Where are we going to find the capital to use as seed money?
Don't you worry, I'll find it.
All right, well, what can I do?
I want you to get that gumshoe.
What, Chuck Morrison?
Yeah. I want him to find Dimitri Cassadine. We're going to keep the heat on that con artist until I get our money back.
I cannot believe they invested everything.
Look, Monica, we tried to tell them. Now, if they had listened to us, they'd still have the bulk of their fortune left.
But it is gone. It's all gone.
Because Edward and Alan have no one to blame but themselves and their greed.
I know, and the sad part is they're never going to admit that they were wrong.
Oh, come on. Everyone made a mistake about Dimitri Cassadine. He took me for a ride, too.
But that's true. That's true. But what am I going to do? What am I going to do about the family? What can I do?
Monica, I don't want to talk about the Quartermains. I don't want to talk about Dimitri Cassadine. I just want to talk about tonight.
Listen, I can't spend the night with you. Not tonight, anyway.
You, having second thoughts about the divorce?
No. No, I'm not having second thoughts about that. I told Alan I didn't even want a settlement. I'm just very glad that I asked him for a divorce before he went broke.
Still worried about what other people will think?
Sometimes. You know, you and Alan are in the same boat.
You mean two men in love with the same woman?
No, I mean that both of you lost everything.
Uh-huh. There is a difference, Monica.
What? What is the difference?
The difference is, I love to live on the edge.
That's true. Holding company, what's that?
Oh, I guess Felicia forgot to file it. Oh, well. More wine? Come on, have some, relax.
I think I'll have the tuna salad plate and a cup of tea.
You got it.
Just a cheeseburger and fries is great, Ruby, okay?
Okay, how about your friend here?
Oh, she went to the bathroom. She'll be back in a minute.
Okay, I'll catch her when she gets back.
Thanks.
You got it.
You're still upset, aren't you?
Do you know how lousy I feel for leading Lucy on like that to get evidence for Kevin?
You know, part of me really hates Lucy Coe for the lies that she told about Kevin. But part of me, I feel sorry for her.
Dave, you want some dinner?
Oh, not exactly. Honey, I was wondering if you'd seen Brian today.
No, he hasn't been in here all day.
I was afraid you'd say that.
Now, don't go jumping to conclusions. Is something wrong?
Honey, I don't know. Brian didn't come home last night. Do you think I should call the police now?
No, he hasn't been missing 24 hours. Besides, everyone's been acting a little weird today, including the quartermaid.
Well, it must be the full moon.
I don't know where.
Hi.
Brian, honey, I'm so glad you're all right.
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, when you didn't come home last night, I was terrified that something had happened to you. Maybe you'd start drinking, anything.
You got a lot of nerve to think that the quarrel with you is that important to me.
Brian, you gave your wife quite a scare.
And I didn't know what to think.
So you thought the worst.
Well,
For your information, I spent the night in the hotel. And I spent some time with some patients during the day outside the city.
And they didn't have phones there?
I don't think this is any of your concern.
And I don't like the way you're treating my friend.
and I don't like it either.
I'm sorry I worried you, Claudia, but I need some space.
But why? We can work it out.
I need the space to figure out about our relationship and where it's going.
I wonder if there's even anything left to think about. Let's sit down.
Lucy, are you feeling better?
I'm fine.
You were crying, weren't you?
I can't help it. I just feel so bad for what I almost did to Kevin.
You finally did the right thing. That's what's important.
Frisco, I owe you so much. If it weren't for you, I never would have told the truth about Kevin O'Connor.
You know what it means to me to have you standing beside me?
I love you. I'm your wife.
You always had faith in me, even when everything else looked dark.
Kevin, I never did believe you would kill somebody.
You know, once I'm released, you and I are going to start over.
There's nothing I would like more than to spend the rest of my life with you.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
You know, I just can't help feeling sorry for Lucy Coe.
The girl tried to ruin our lives.
Yeah, but she loved you. And when she knew there was no hope, she just went a little crazy.
No, I didn't even know she was alive. She was just a face behind the library desk.
Is the jury coming to a decision?
Nothing yet. I spent some time talking to the court reporters, but nobody will even guess how the jury will vote.
Well, there's only one way they can vote.
All we can do is wait. Well, that's what Jake said. He's down at the courthouse now trying to get some word on the jury's decision.
Jake worked so hard proving Kevin was innocent.
I owe him my life. Wish there was something special I could do for him.
Yeah, I was thinking about giving him some extra bonus.
Oh, no, that's a nice idea, but Jake would never accept anything above his usual fee.
Well, maybe something else. Is there something that he's always wanted?
Well, he's always talked about going on a romantic getaway with Bobby. Only every time they do, they go to Walton.
Phone call for Patrick O'Connor?
Yeah, that's probably Jake. I told him to call us here if he heard anything.
All right. Could this be that the jury's made a decision already, just quickly?
Yeah, Jake. Uh-huh. All right. Well, right here. Bye. What did he say? Not much. He said he's got some news, but he wants to talk to us in person. Right over.
How do you like this one?
Oh, that's pretty snazzy. Stuff must have cost a fortune, and just think she won't fit into it next year.
Yeah, well, we buy big and just hope that it stays in fashion.
We had the best time, Ruby. Just me and my mom. It was the first time we ever went shopping together.
Well, I had a lot of fun myself. I didn't come away empty-handed, let me tell you.
Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Dad. You heard anything?
Not yet. I'm just trying to clear my head.
Well, a walk on the waterfront is great for that. Can I get you a cup of coffee, Mr. Madison?
Thank you, Ruby, yes.
How long do you think it'll be before the jury make a decision?
Hard to say. I don't think we can expect anything before tomorrow morning. Just hope the jury knows a guilty man when they see one.
Any news? Has the jury reached a decision?
Taking the jury to the Port Charles Hotel for the evening. They ordered coffee and sandwiches. It looks like it's going to be a long night.
What does that mean?
Means the jury's divided. They're not coming up with any quick decisions.
Oh, is that bad?
Not necessarily. It means there's conflict among the jurors in the case.
Well, that's better than having them all vote against Kevin.
Look, I want you all to know that at this point, the decision is very much in the air. It really could go either way.